Well, I'm back on this radio again. I got the electrolytics installed. Not the neatest job, but the best I can do. Thank goodness these newer capacitors are a lot smaller. So what I've got in here, I'll use my finger because I can't find my pointer. This is a 47 at 160. It's one I had in my shop. It's quite huge compared to the newer ones. These are 22s at 160. And they're a lot smaller than those 450 volts that I had clipped in here before. The radio works, however, it's not very sensitive. I don't think these were very sensitive to begin with. I only get one local station on it, and that's very weak. Now, one of the tubes is a little weak in here. I don't recall what it was now. I'd have to test them over again. I think it might have been, this is not plugged in, the one S5, I believe, but I'm not 100% sure. I installed a line cord, and I left it at the 8-foot length. I made some changes here. I got the line cord going where it originally came in. Okay. However, this point here is where the line cord was coming in on the hot side. Now, if you look at this switch here, the terminals on the left-hand side of the switch, right there where I'm pointing to, is the line neutral or common negative switching side. I brought the line cord up to this side, the hot side, because that is the connection for the battery, turning the battery on and off, and we're not using a battery anymore. So we're switching both the neutral and the hot side by way of this switch right here, and it works quite well. Use my finger. They were invented before pointers, as I said so many times. All right, so we got the hot wire coming in here, and when you push the switch in, you're turned off, okay? So what we've got here is the wire going down to the rectifier, which is the one end. Sorry, I have to hand hold everything. One end 4007 going in, down at the bottom terminal there. I think you can see that. I had to tack it in because I couldn't get it in any other way because I had the hole filled. But it holds. I used to tack solder all the time. Nothing wrong with it. It holds just good. You're not going to go swinging on it, you know. So this is the antenna here. So let's hook the antenna up and give it a try. All right, we got you on a little tripod here. We got the Variac on, but turned all the way down. It seems to work good at least 117 or 120 volts. So we're going to bring it right up to, we got 107 going into it now, 107 volts. We got exactly 117 going into it now. Volume's all the way up. Antenna's on. no difference.
Be on a rookie deal, right? Malik Willis will be on a rookie deal. It's a lot.
Well, it's not bad.
But relative to what quarterbacks are spent, what's spent on court.
I get.
How clean and safe is the air in your building? Atmos Air Solutions in Fairfield, Connecticut can tell you.
The IF cans, all I have is a small Exolite. See if I can show you this. Real tiny Exolite screwdriver, but it's metal. You're not supposed to use in the IF cans. But it don't seem to affect it too much being metal.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives.
Well, it's not tuned RF. There's only a 2-gang tuning condenser on it. So,
We're here for you and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety
probably be all right, I guess.
board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Deep within you is the need to do some spring cleaning.
But Brian, I have good news for you. When our truck pulls up in front of your house,
It's time to start dancing.
the air is about to smell cleaner.
The house is about to look bigger.
I'm just touching the antenna.
Everyone is going to
Well, the volume's all the way up. But these radios aren't that sensitive anyways, I don't think.
To make everyone happy.
That's why they all start dancing.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
But
You have bad credit, but need a new car? Call Credit Solutions.
guess it could use an alignment, but
To apply right over the phone. Call 800.
I don't think it's going to do much because I tuned the IFs a little bit.
Customers can drive a new Hyundai with just $68 down.
I'll stop the video right at this point here. All right, I did some more work off camera on this. It's not a very sensitive radio, and I didn't think it would be anyways. You're supposed to have the antenna up, according to the alignment instructions, but I can't do that. It won't stay up anyways. The springs don't work anymore on the lid. I redressed some of the wires in here. I peaked up the IF cans. One of them doesn't seem to have a slug on the other underside here, and you're supposed to adjust according to this. Gotta find my magnifier. You're supposed to adjust A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, and A6. I don't even know. Rock the tuning condenser, adjust for maximum output. Okay, well, I didn't use a signal generator. I usually don't, even though I have one. Not all that sensitive. Plus the speaker's covered too. Not a very sensitive radio at all.
That's right. And in Australia, Virgin Pilot,
Turn the volume down a little bit.
heading to recruit from the U.S.
Okay, as my finger is showing, there is an A2. This is the other IF can. It almost knocked the camera off the bench that time. This is the other IF can right here. There is no adjustment. That's why I couldn't find any slug in there. So I've already hit this slug, but I had to use my Exolite, the little green one, so I don't have any non-metallic alignment tools. And I just use it peaking up on a weak signal. But there's only like 2 stations coming in. 2 or 3 stations. My local on 1310 and WFAN and WCBS, I believe. I think that's about all that's coming in right here. So that A2 is nearest the selenium, which is not in here now. I replaced it. So that's A2. But we'll go back in that and see if we can adjust that again. All right, I'm ready for alignment here. Step 1, we got a 0.1 capacitor in the high side, pin 6 of the 1R5, the grid, pin 6, 455 kc. Tuning cap fully open. Across the voice coil for your output meter, which we probably won't be using because we got the speaker going. And we adjust A1, A2, and A3 just for maximum output. If AC power is used, we are going to be using an isolation transformer. So we don't have to worry about that. Okay, I'm ready to do the alignment. We got the ICO 324 warming up. I could use the Accurate 153 that I restored, but we'll use the ICO. Now we are running through an isolation transformer over here. You can't see it, but it's going to be running through that. So we don't need to worry about connecting up our signal generator and having a big problem. So let me get set up and I'll be right back. Okay, I got the ICO on 455. It's telling me to go to a 0.1 capacitor to pin 6 of the 1R5. It's impossible for me to get at the pin itself, but right here at the antenna connector, where it plugs in, I can put it there, and that's what I did. You can see it right there, the yellow cap. And the low side is on the common negative. So we're ready to inject the signal. Says the volume at max. So let's get started. All right, we got 99 volts coming in. 107, 108. 117 going in. Now, as I said, this is all I have for an adjustment. Well, let's see. Don't sound too healthy, does it? A1 and A2 and A3. A1, A2, and A3. A1 is on the top. That don't sound right. You know what? Turn the signal generator off. We'll line up by the radio station. That's all. I'll be right back.
The Browns, not the Jaguars, not even the Jets, if you can believe it. The New York Giants are pretty much the worst team in football for the last 5 or 6 years. Nobody loses more. Nobody has more dead seasons by October than the New York Giants, and a lot of that has to do with the quarterback and the owner. And I've defended the owner because John Mara loves this team, loves the fan base. I think he's gotten a little bit of a bad rap. He would do anything. Anything. And we've talked about, obviously now with baseball, it's come up a lot. Owners who don't put the money in, owners who don't really care. Right now, the Steinbrenners are kind of getting that flack from Yankee fans. That it's a business, and it'd be nice to win, but ultimately it's about the money in the pocket. It's about how the business is run. It's about the $6 billion evaluation of the franchise. That's what it's all about. Winning comes secondary. I think John Mara wants to win. I do.
Got a lot of noise in the shop here. Kind of dead at the low end, but you can't have everything.
And they smoke a lot. And they are always red exploiters.
So,
And they are of the radical left. They are of the radical left. They've always wanted to silence Ginny Thomas because Ginny Thomas is a conservative activist. Now, keep in mind, we have radical left-wing activists dressed up as judges, like Judge Carter, like more than half of the judges in Washington, D.C., like Sotomayor,
so A1 is
in Breyer, and more Roberts, quite frankly. But that's okay.
up here. I can't see the viewfinder, so I'm guessing where it is.
The country or pull the
All right, so I adjust A1, A3.
That's fine. And of course, they used to talk about
And
the independence of women, the women's movement. Now they
A4.
want to find women. But they hate conservative women. They hate
I don't know where A4 is. See on this diagram.
conservative Hispanics. They hate
Yeah, A4 and A5 right here is off the is a tuning capacitor. So
They despise them
A4 is the oscillator.
because they
So
don't
we can
answer
touch that up once we get the.
They seek to
Well, I don't know if we can do it getting in the case or not.
These are totalitarian. That's what they are.
I think we're pretty good. You know, this is a radio that's very, 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 very difficult to align because everything's, you know, it's very hard to work on. In order to get at the cams, I had to take the shield off again on the bottom here. So we're shutting this down now. We'll come back on this video. We're going to try to put it back in the case here. All right. I had a little hard time getting it back in the case again. These antenna terminals wanted to scrape the side here. On the top, I should say. But it works. Switches both the hot side and the neutral.
We've been on the program for 2 weeks and I've already lost 6 pounds. It's amazing what I've learned. First, weight loss.
Did they use that? I mean, that means retirement plan. They said if you have shares in them, not different companies, and that's part of your retirement plan, if that increases by, you know, certain
I'm 718. Top stories up next. Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're
Not too bad.
your reputation on the line. So what do you do?
Not too bad for a blind tinkerer. Had a lot of ugly solder joints in here, some of which I had to tack in, but it's the only way I could do it. Of course, I have to tie this up somehow. The other one's the same way. I know what's happening. The braid right here is shorting out on the frame here. I hope I don't have to put the braid on the other one. Now this one has the handle. The other one, the handle's broke and it won't mount anywhere. On the other hand, this has been converted to strictly AC.
Metro Center Boulevard, Foster City, California, 94440.
You know, my heart wasn't in the Klondike bar. I think in the back of my mind,
I don't think it's too bad.
Seen that today. God, I'm a disaster.
What would you do?
For some reason, I couldn't align it with the signal generator. It's just too crowded. I just can't work on it. You're supposed to connect it to the grid when you're doing the IF alignment, the RF tube here. And I wasn't able to get at the grid, but I could get at the antenna connection right here. But that didn't seem to work out too well, and you heard all the noise and everything in it. So most of the time when I pick up a radio, I don't do FM. Okay, they're too complicated. Most of the time when I do AM radios, I very rarely use a signal generator. I have a few times. I bought some up that were pretty dead. However, using a radio station and tuning the IFs to that, just as good. It seems to work better that way. But unfortunately, I had to use a metal Exolite screwdriver, which is a no-no. But I didn't have any plastic. I have some alignment tools, but nothing that tiny that would get into these IF cans. But it didn't do too bad going in with it. It didn't detune it too much, so it was fine.
Because I don't want to let myself down. No, no.
Yeah, keep it on the straight and narrow
I
then.
try not to eat the meat on Fridays.
Are you Catholic? Yeah. That's a Catholic thing. Yeah, I just do the lunch.
Wait, and
Driver was also taken to the hospital, and New York Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin.
Plenty of volume, distorts though. Now there's some caps I did not change because it was too much of a hassle. There was an O2 that was buried in the chassis I showed you earlier in the video, and the one with the coil on it wound on the outside of it. I did not change that. Perfect. Shuts right off. Now the other radio, as I said, has no handle on it. But it doesn't matter because it's going to be used strictly on AC anyways. But I really don't like this, what I did here, but it was the only way. Electrically, you could not get any continuity on this. It was up into the kilo-ohms, so it's rusty and everything else. The other hinges on the other one, as you can see here, is a lot better. And I got pretty good continuity on it. However, one of the hinge pins, this one here, fell out. I found it on the floor. Now it's supposed to have a little spring in there. See that right there? Where my finger's pointing, right there? Well, that must have ended up on the floor somewhere because there was none here. I think that little spring might help make some contact too. However, when I first got the radio, it too would not stand up. This stands up better, but it could slam down like that all of a sudden. I polished it up with Brasso. It looks a lot better because this is the face that was much better, but this was broke here. But this came out good, best I can do anyways. So, all right, so we're going to end this video. This is, I think, part 8. We're going to end it. That's the end of this. The only thing I would like to do, maybe, if I can get some maroon crinkle paint. Doubt very spray paint. I doubt very highly I'll be able to get it. Probably not available. Now, normally this was painted maroon too, but it all peeled off. So that's it. We'll unplug the variac, shut down everything here. And that concludes the video, part 8, on the Motorola 5A7A radio.